It would be perhaps too much to say the Toronto Raptors smoked the Philadelphia 76ers, but they beat the Philadelphia 76ers, and Scottie Barnes had yet another revenge game. And there's a lot to have revenge against because if you look at the narratives on this team, there's Joel Embiid, there's Nick Nurse, there's Quentin Grimes, and there's the Toronto media. And there's a lot of, oh, yes, Philadelphia booing Embiid was so funny. Yep, it is. And late again, it is my way, unfortunately. What can you do? The Toronto Raptors beat the Philadelphia 76ers at full strength. They themselves were not at full strength. You started a 6'6" Jonathan Mobo against arguably the most talented and forceful offensive center in the NBA in Joel Embiid. They played Tyrese Maxey. They played their what feels like $500 million man, Paul George. And Tyrese Maxey didn't have a bucket until a late three in the fourth quarter. Immanuel Quickley was instrumental. Ulrich Shamshay got fourth quarter minutes, and Ulrich Shamshay got first half minutes. I think the Toronto Raptors did literally everything in their power to help the Philadelphia 76ers win this game, but they also played hard. And that is the essence of what they're doing right now. They're going to play really good basketball, but they're going to put out lineups that are going to struggle. And in fairness, some of those Ulrich lineups struggled to score, but that doesn't mean there weren't some incredible moments. Ulrich Shamshi, what a incredible moment for Cameroon to see the youngest Cameroonian player going up against perhaps the greatest Cameroonian player of all time and squaring up. And we even got a crocodile death roll from Ulrich Shamshi where he dragged and pretty much lifted Joel Embiid off the ground and knocked him down. The film session is going to be lit. Andrew saying W rotations from Darko staggering the bigs was smart. I think the Toronto Raptors were so connected offensively and defensively. It really helped the Raptors out that I think Joel Embiid and the Sixers came out really flat to start both first half and second half. They just really look like a team that is laboring to try and laboring to care and laboring to hoop. And of course, there are guys on that team that are playing pretty good basketball, but you just cannot sustain this level of effort or lack of effort from your from your top guys. And I just think that this was a team that deserved to win tonight. The Toronto Raptors deserved to win. If the Philadelphia 76ers had won tonight, and they certainly could have won. I mean, there was a very late game gaff by Joel Embiid where Maxey finds him wide open for three. Embiid is more than capable of knocking down those threes, but he hasn't been hitting his shot since coming back from injury. So he decides to try and drive it. And then he turns the basketball over like a crazy person. And the boos rained out as Grady Dick ran down the other way. There's a lot to break down in today's game. If you would like to call in and talk about it, if you're a Joel Embiid hater like I am, this might be worth the lottery balls, honestly. Kyle Lowry was in attendance tonight wearing an Eagles hat, victory lapping as the Philadelphia Eagles winners of the Super Bowl. It's such an interesting thing to see how two Philly teams can be so unlike each other, right? Like on the one hand, you have the Philadelphia Eagles who embody everything that Philly is about: tough, grind it out, like hard nose. And then you have the Sixers that are soft like Charmin. This is a team that is so embarrassing to watch. And honestly, this Paul George thing, I didn't in a million years think that it was going to backfire this way. I knew he was a little bit older, but I thought he could help. I thought settling into that third option role maybe would help him out. But the Sixers are a mess. And if you're wondering, is Nick Nurse going to be the coach of this team next year? I can definitively 1000% tell you that tonight's game was the final nail in the coffin. There is no chance in hell. Right now, they're tanking. They are tanking. They have a pick, and that pick is top 6 protected. I believe it is to OKC. So I want to be clear that they have every incentive to try and lose every game from here on out. And by the way, the Raptors face them 2 more times. This was not a team that was expected to be tanking right now, but they are. Chicago is tanking. And so there are some actual tank implications of tonight because Chicago is getting blown out. I think they were down 29-71 at the half against the Detroit Pistons. So There's a lot of tanking implications for this game, but there's a lot of superstar Scottie implications for this game because Scottie got to the line like a demon. This is something that he started in the last game, and I think he continued it in this game. He was so dialed in and so focused attacking the paint. There has been open criticism from a lot of media members, including Matt Bonner on the Raptors show, I believe yesterday, where he was talking about Scottie Barnes drives. And he said he just doesn't drive. And I mean, definitely feel free to listen to it. Matt and Blake do a great job on the Raptors show each day, keeping it light, keeping it fun during a losing season. But, Matt went on an extended rant about how Scottie just does not get past his man. He does not have a move to go to. Certainly looked like he had a lot of moves to go to tonight. So we're going to definitely tank for, I just said we're going to tank for flag. We're going to look at that. But tonight, the Toronto Raptors go into Philadelphia without a real center. They play 5 rookies, 5, all 5 of them. Jacoby played heavy. Jamal played heavy. Jameson played heavy. Like every rookie played. Jonathan Mobo started. Over Shamshi was the backup center. Like what the hell? I'm telling you, man. Like if you're expecting this team, as dialed in as they are, to lose against the Washington Wizards 4 times, you're crazy. They're not going to be able to tank successfully. This team is they just work too hard. It's a funny compliment. It's a bit of a backhanded compliment. It's not. You're not beating these teams on talent. You definitely don't have more talent than the Philadelphia 76ers. You're just passing the basketball better than the Philadelphia 76ers. You're more connected defensively. You're communicating better than the Philadelphia 76ers. You're boarding harder than the Sixers. There were about maybe 6 minutes, maybe 7 minutes of tonight's entire game where I felt the Sixers tried harder. Does it sometimes just come down to who wants it more? Is that too simpleton for me to explain it that way? Sometimes it does, man. Because if you're always late to loose balls, if you're not boxing out your man, Scottie was rotating over like crazy. He stopped Joel Embiid at the rim several times. Like, I just think we're going to have a long conversation about Scottie at some point. This won't be super long live. Every time I say that, it ends up going 4 hours. Yesterday, I said it's going to be a super long live, and then it ends up being 3 hours, and we're sitting there at 3:30 in the morning discussing Luka Doncic, Brandon Ingram, and all that stuff. We did talk about the Brandon Ingram contract in a specific video prior to this live. So if you're more curious about my extended thoughts on Brandon Ingram's contract, we're not going to spend too much time talking about it unless one of the callers wants to call in and talk about it. I believe I put in the call-in link in the description. I did. Thank you, God. Okay. All right. Let's talk about this. Okay. The Raptors, win probability. I mean, they poked their head up a couple times. The red is the Raptors. A couple times where the Raptors were favored to win. But for the most part, the Sixers kept them at bay. And they go into the half pretty much deadlocked. I think the halftime score was 52-50 Philly, right? So the Raptors come out in the first quarter like crazy. They score, I want to say 19 points in the first 4 or 5 minutes. They go into an extended drought, if you want to take a look at that. And that drought is like right there. Okay, so the drought stops at 17. 19. So 6 minutes and 36 seconds into the first quarter, they had 19. They were up 19-9. And then the Sixers just steadily poked away at it. And you're like, okay, this is a game where one team walked in expecting to get an easy win, and the other team was like, not so fast. You're going to have to work for your wins against us. But at no point in the first half, whether they were up 12, 13, did you actually feel, if you were being honest with yourself, that the Raptors, especially when you saw Over Shamshi like come up into the rotation, you're like, there's no way in hell the Raptors are going to be able to just even. The Sixers can just go on a 13-2 run right now and end this game, and it just never happened. Like, they went on an extended run, but the Raptors came right back. They poked their head up, the Raptors came right back, and you're like, oh shit, Immanuel Quickley and Scottie Barnes actually really want this game. Darko Rajakovic looked very, very disappointed when Scottie Barnes turned the ball over late in the fourth quarter. Like, he really wanted this game. And, there's a little bit of chatter in the media that, oh, I miss Nick Nurse. Oh, Nick Nurse was great. Nick Nurse is so smart. This Darko guy, he don't know how to play basketball. He don't know how to coach basketball. Well, how them apples taste, man. How them apples taste tonight. Because Darko coached circles around that dude. And his team played harder for him than that dude. Okay. And I say that dude because I don't have a lot of respect for Nick Nurse. Some of y'all might. Okay. But you tell me, how veteran laden that roster is that you just beat, and you just beat it with a whole bunch of rookies and second year players. Chris Boucher been doing a lot of heavy lifting for the Raptors. Tonight was not one of them games. He lost every minute he was on the court. He was a -7, 0 for 6, 15 points. Jamison Battle came in. It wasn't some sniper performance from him, but he did hit a 3 in his 9 minutes. Orlando Robinson, very competent. Got one pass on a dunk from Scottie Barnes, another pass pretty much the next play from Immanuel Quickley. Made some good reads in the middle of the court. Overall, very impressive. Ulrich, it's all the vibes, man. It's not about talent. They didn't. I mean, there were a couple times where I feel like the Raptors could have probably just thrown it up to him. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if Ulrich was playing with Luka and LeBron in LA, he probably has 12 points or 14 points a night. The Raptors have to figure out how to use rim runners. They don't have any. So they don't even know how to use the guy right now. But you just wait. And I mean, he doesn't even know how to use himself right now. It's like he's still trying to figure out, like, where do I put my feet on this? Like, where do I go now? You know, he's a little bit slow. I say that respectfully. He's a little bit slow in terms of processing the speed of the game right now. This is a massive adjustment from the G League. Going from facing G League centers, and by the way, the G League is really starved for like talented centers, to going up against Joel freaking Embiid, and that's your head-to-head matchup when you check in the game. This is a huge jump up for Ulrich, and I'm very happy for him. He performed admirably. There was a great blitz on the double between him and Scottie, which was like, okay, wow. If they can figure this out defensively, him and Scottie, like as a 4-5 or even a 3-5, are going to be really scary for teams in years to come. But he was a -12 in a game that you won by 3. So you go figure it out. You really did lose your Ulrich Chomsky minutes. And Jamal Shad had some really good moments. I don't think the -10 is any indication of him. I think it's more of an indication of how well the Sixers units played with him, but he had some really encouraging moments. Jacoby Walter, who has been just on a heater, on a double-digit streak. His double-digit streak ends at 6. Maybe I jinxed it. Maybe I shouldn't have posted about it. But yes, he played 20 minutes tonight. I think the defense was very competent. He attacked the rim. You know, he didn't get any fouls. You know what I mean? But he goes 1 for 4 from 3. He's been shooting 40% from 3 for the last 6 games. This is an off night for him. But honestly, I'll take an off night like this where he boards, he gets on the glass, he got 3 offensive rebounds. I like that. Grady Dick started out shaky, got a lot better as it went on, right? Really cold from 3 coming into this game, but he made them late. 17 points on 6 for 13 shooting. This is more of a return to the Grady Dick we saw earlier in the year, and it's good to see. Ochai Agbaji starting in place of RJ Barrett. I thought he was good, man. I thought he's good. Both of these guys are coming off your bench next year. Okay? 3 of the guys who started for you are coming off your bench next year. 1, 2, probably 2 of the guys who played for you tonight ain't going to be on your team next year. They're going to be replaced by what is hopefully a top 5 pick. So, man, this is impressive. Now, let's talk about Immanuel Quickley and Scottie Barnes. We'll definitely look at some of the good stuff that they did in the film session, but Immanuel Quickley, man. Talk about Immanuel Quickley first. Not a natural point guard in the most technical of definitions, not the most natural point guard, not the most natural playmaker. Doesn't always have the most natural feel for where his teammates are going to be or how to get them the basketball. But he's figuring it out. And that was all this year was really about. Figuring him out, getting him cleaner looks at the rim, because he's had a tendency to stop short on his drives for most of his career coming into Toronto. So I think it was very important to get him, getting to the line a little bit more, just getting his shot profile a little bit more comfortable with the traditional scoring point guard, right? Scottie deferred to him a lot for the playmaking. It's not necessarily to the Raptors' benefit to go through Immanuel Quickley offensively. I think it's very apparent to me. It's very apparent to me that the Raptors run better when Scottie's running point. Like, it's just some of their best stretches have come with him making decisions. But tonight they flipped it, where Scottie was more of a 3-4 and Immanuel Quickley was more of a traditional 1. And they found a lot of chemistry there. And I think that it was good. And I think Immanuel Quickley found his teammates early. I think when his shots were available, he took them. When it wasn't available, he passed it. He didn't hang on to the ball too long. I think overall, this is a really good Immanuel Quickley game. Of course, when you form such a incredible backcourt with a player, you somehow get tied to that player forever. The Fab Five are forever tied together, and I think Immanuel Quickley and Tyrese Maxey are pretty much forever tied together as two Kentucky guards who started together, played together. And tonight, it really looked like one of these guys was the max player and the other one was the overpaid $32 million guy, wouldn't you say? Tyrese Maxey struggled to get any separation on his shot. He was often relied upon to be more of a bailout guy at the end of the quarter, but I don't think he processes the game very well. And again, like for him to take the next step, he has a lot of the same stuff to work on as Immanuel Quickley, and neither one of them are the most prototypical playmakers. But I do think that like I think $40+ million now for Tyrese Maxey is looking quite bad. And I mean, I think he'll be fine. To be clear, I think he'll be fine. I'm not selling on Tyrese Maxey. I've watched him way too long. But it is worth noting that Immanuel Quickley thoroughly outplayed him tonight. It wasn't like he outplayed him by a little bit. No, he outplayed him by a lot. He was definitively the best guard on the court tonight. So that was good. It's a very encouraging thing to sort of see that from him. In terms of the Sixers, they got 27 points from Joel Embiid. It wasn't an efficient 27 points. He got bailed out on a lot of calls. The Raptors did foul him a lot. But he had 4 turnovers, 12 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds. Okay. You are the lone 7-footer who played tonight. You were matched up against a rookie over Shamshe, a two-way guy named Orlando Robinson, and a 6'6" rookie in Jonathan Mobo. This is a game that Joel Embiid probably should have had 65 points. If I'm being honest, there really was nothing else. But the way the Raptors swarmed him on his catches, the way they were able to offer help, that was very impressive. And I don't think that he necessarily made the greatest decisions out of those situations. So the Raptors rebuild will be short. It will be short and hopefully it will be sweet. Now, we'll talk about the Tankathon stuff later. Let's talk about Scottie briefly, and then we'll get to the film session shortly thereafter. There has been so much talk about Scottie by me, by a lot of people actually, on the panel. We've been talking about it. We've been talking about, who is he better than? Can he be a championship number one? I think today he showed you he has it. He has it. 33-10, baby. Yes. Yes. And it's not just the 33-10. The 33-10 is fine. He had 32-17 as a rookie. It's how he got his 33-10. It wasn't just rim rolls. It wasn't just catch and shoots. It was put the ball in his hands, navigate the pick and roll, beat your man, find the opening, or get to the basket. It's the way that he got those 33. It was the superstar shit that people are always gassing guys like Cade and Paolo about, except this is Scottie Barnes. I want to say something before we get to the film session, because there's plenty of Scottie in the film session. There's plenty of his defense, plenty of his passing. We talk about Scottie a lot on this channel. We talked about him a lot less this year, if I'm being fair, but we've talked about him a lot on this channel. Y'all know how I feel about Scottie Barnes. It's so difficult to explain versatility to people. I watch a guy stop a drive from a guard. Then I watch him recover onto a center who is 300 pounds in Joel Embiid. I watch him stop him at the rim, stop him, and then get the rebound, and then run to the basket the other way, and finish at the rim. I see a guy who can play make out of the post, play make out of the pick and roll. I'm seeing a guy who he was 1 for 2 from 3 tonight because one of his threes didn't count because it was like the foot was just narrowly on the line. But he shot better today. And he said after the game that he just felt better. I wonder if he felt better. He feel better every time you see Nick Nurse on the other side, huh? He had 27 points the last time the Raptors beat the Sixers. The last time it was the second game of the season. So this is just a team that doesn't have anyone that can really stop Scottie one-on-one. Now, you don't need to stop Scottie one-on-one because what often happens is Scottie stops himself. He has that problem. When he drives, very often he is upright. We've talked about this many times. He's upright on the drives. He doesn't get his shoulder below the defender. And so he doesn't have a lot of place to explode, right? How is it that Luka Doncic and Paul Pierce are able to beat their man off the dribble, but Scottie Barnes, who is a vastly superior, burstier athlete than those guys, can't really do it? It's because he tends to drive into the defender as opposed to past the defender. He has this natural sort of tendency to lean into contact. So what happens is he starts out in a drive and then it morphs into a mini post up. Problem is, because you're not Jokic and Shaq, your post ups are not moving defenders like those guys. You're not just able to bully your ass into it. And this is when I say sometimes the problem with power players at a younger level is they get used to being bigger, stronger than everybody. And then it just falls apart when you get up to the next level and everybody's just as strong as you. Now, of course, everybody is not just as strong as Scottie, but in order for Scottie to basically enjoy the same advantages that he enjoyed at Florida State and Montverde, and we're not saying, he was world beaters offensively in either one of those situations. It was not like, but the way he was scoring at that point was very scavenger like. And he was able to get those shots off cleanly because there's just not enough size, length, and strength to stop you at that point. But here, there is. Paul George is more than strong enough. Joel Embiid is more than strong enough. You're going to have to get past these guys. And this is where the next evolution of Scottie's skill work needs to come in. And I saw much more of that in the last game towards the end. And I saw much more of that today. You need to get through with craft. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not just beating past his man. He's slowing down, taking that half step, and then exploding. Scottie plays without pace. This is something that a lot of players, young players, have to figure out, and they all figure it out at different times. You may have the opinion that by the fourth year, a player should have figured this out. I'll tell you, it's not like he got ample opportunities to do this shit in his first 2 years. It's not like he came in as some sort of generationally gifted offensive player. So you're going to have to be patient with this. But you also need to acknowledge that archetypes exist in the NBA, and you can't judge one archetype by the failings of the other. Imagine if I sat here and you were like, Rob, how do you feel about Devin Booker? And I'm like, he doesn't rebound like Shaq, so he's a bum. How would you feel if I said, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wasn't really a great player because he didn't shoot the ball like Steph Curry? How would you feel if I said Steph Curry wasn't a really great player because he didn't jump like Michael? And how would you feel if I said LeBron wasn't really a great player because he didn't shoot the ball like Klay Thompson? Players are different. We have to acknowledge what a particular player does well. I can tell you something that Scottie Barnes does that maybe 2 to 3 other players in the entire league can even mimic. He can guard 5 positions and he can play 5 positions offensively. That is a really difficult thing to do. It is not something that comes easy, but it is not a specialized skill. I was trying to explain to somebody recently how I really felt about Scottie's game and why I feel it's so consistently underrated. And I said that sometimes you have a player who comes into the league and their greatest advantage is maybe their shooting, but they're weak defenders, they're weak rebounders. So by the end of their career, or maybe they're a great shooter and then they're a great ball handler, but they're not a great defender, they're not a great passer. And so by the end of the year, they'll become like 5% better at their deficiencies and about 45 to 80% better at their strengths. And you'll see a star. You'll see a Reggie Miller or a Rod Strickland or a Jason Tatum or something like that, because they've refined their strengths. They've leaned into their strengths. They've pushed their strengths to the absolute upper limits. And now they were able to do something at such an elite level that it cannot be stopped. And they spam it over and over and over and generate those advantages. But what if a player's specialty is that he doesn't have a specialty? What if a player's specialty is that he is literally good at everything except for like this one thing? And this one thing is all he basically does as a basketball player right now, which is shoot. Whether it's mid-range, whether it's 3-point, Scottie is leaning into the one thing he cannot do as a basketball player. And he does it all the time. He's shooting on the break. He's shooting, in the corner. He's shooting above the break, off the dribble, late clock, early clock. He doesn't care. He's just taking them. Because this is what's holding him back from unlocking everything. The second thing that's holding him back is being able to beat his man off the dribble, the first step. Once he gets that first step, he's lethal. He can physically move a guy, but he just doesn't know how to get these two things right. Number one, the shot or the gather or the footwork in order to get into the shot. And number two, beat your man off the dribble, get that half step, get inside their body, and then Jalen Brunson the shit out of them, or Luka the shit out of them, or Julius Randle the shit out of them, or friggin' Zach Randolph. Like that. What you should be thinking about right now is for all the players who can do that, your RJ Barretts, your Jalen Brunsons, your Immanuel Quickleys, whatever. How many lifetimes would it take them to learn how to play 5 positions? How many lifetimes would it take those guys to learn how to defend Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic on the block and also switch out to Tyrese Maxey and Tyrese Halliburton? There's not enough lifetimes in this lifetime to comprehend what a gap that is. So really, at this point, Scottie is being held back by 2 skill traits. That's it. Once you figure those 2 things out, it is over. It is like the best player or one of the 3 best players in the NBA. There's nothing that can stop him once he figures these 2 things out. If he gets, it's not just the handle. It's not just the handle, guys. It's not just, oh, he's just dribbling the basketball up the court and he's just losing it. That happens occasionally, for sure. For sure, that happens. I'm not denying that happens. What happens, what it really is that he needs to find a way to consistently generate the advantage off the dribble and then get to the shot. Because the physics of it are impossible to stop. And the double teaming cannot even enter the equation because of how quickly he crosses the court. And you're not going to put a big, strong person on him because he's just going to get past him. And you're not going to be able to put a smaller guy on him because you're just going to pass over him or shoot over him. So it's really like a matchup nightmare. His passing ability separates him from the Giannis's and the Tatums of the world. His defense and athleticism separates him from the Lukas of the world. It really is LeBron-esque, and that's who you're building around. Okay? All right, let's look at the film session here. Enough ranting about Scottie Barnes. I am excited about, 33 points. That was pretty cool. Speaking of Scottie, sweet pass. The pass to the pass. The hockey assist. The real Canada man's adopting the hockey assist. Great pass by Immanuel Quickley. Now, he's been trying to make this pass since he came back from the injury, and very often it results in being very off target or hitting a player's foot. This time, it lands right in Jonathan Mobo's hands, and this is the way you start out a game that you actually intend to win. Okay. Look at this. I was like, Scottie Barnes had me crying because he's grifting for fouls now, and it's funny. He's done with the ethical hooper shit. He's just like, nah, that's it. I'm going for 10 free throw attempts a game. And this has been a concerted effort on his part. This is a completely different approach to playing basketball right now from him. Look at this. Can Devin Booker do that? Can Devin Booker stop? Okay, can Devin Booker do that? I'm being honest. Like, can D-Book do this? Right? And then quick pass, right? Just head up, immediately process the court. Here we go. This is Scottie Barnes guarding Joel Embiid. He's giving up at least 4 inches and about 50 pounds. Embiid is also the older player and the much stronger player. Embiid has him sealed. But Scottie is fronting the post because he believes that he is long enough to deny this pass. And he's right. Look at that. Like, freeze that for a second and put it on your wall. Literally print this out and put it on your wall. That's insane. Undeniable level of motor and effort on this one, right? Just great. And then pokes it away, make sure that second effort was great, right? That was just awesome. Scottie Barnes from Jonathan Mobo. They had a couple of funny moments tonight. This was not one of them, but this was good, man. Yam it on that Kelly Oubre bum. Nice. This one, this is ball pressure from Immanuel Quickley. The ghost of Davion Mitchell lives on. This is multiple efforts. One from Immanuel Quickley, who's guarding the basketball here, gets it loose. And this is Ochai Agbaji. Scottie does not abandon his matchup, which is Paul George. Ochai Agbaji here. And Tyrese Maxey's just going to lose it off his leg. And it's the Raptor ball. It's Raptor ball. I say Scottie to the line again. I mean, look, too often I feel Scottie shies from contact on drives. Today, he went right into it. And he's going up against a guy who is notoriously dirty, injures guys every day. So I think Joel Embiid has a part-time job injuring basketball players. And, you know, going up strong against Embiid is tough shit, man, especially when you have that early memory of that's the guy that stomped my foot and ended my first playoff series. Like, that's tough. Okay, this is a funny one. So Scottie gets knocked out in the previous play. He ends up falling to the ground. He rushes back into the play to get this rebound. Now, obviously, he wants this rebound for a reason. It's not because he's stat padding. It's because he knows that he is the best decision maker to make that first pass. And here, Jonathan Mobo steals it away from him, not thinking, and Scottie is going to poke it away, which I thought was really funny. And you don't often see that, but just to anyone who's just like, there's beef. No, they're best friends. They were really, really good friends. They've been friends since like grade 3. So relax on that. Ulrich is in the game, and this is a huge moment for Cameroon, huge moment for Buffon, and a huge moment for look. Okay, just look at Ulrich's arms, look at Scottie's arms. Have you ever seen Joel Embiid look this flustered on a double team? Do you see this? There's no pass at all. Now, you're doing this to one of the biggest human beings in the NBA. Can you imagine Ulrich and Scottie converging on an Anthony Edwards drive or a Devin Booker drive? Like, this is like two pterodactyls. This is not even fair. I don't even think this is a fair thing. I don't think this should be allowed. Maybe Adam Silver will say, no, you can't play these two guys at once. You certainly cannot play them with Chris Boucher. Like, my God. I mean, you got 7'3" wingspan, 7'5" wingspan with Ulrich, 7'3" with I mean, my God. And there's Jacoby Walter. He's super long too. He's got a 6'10" wingspan. He got Immanuel Quickley. He's got 6'8" wingspan. Yep, Vision 6'9" is alive though, man. The 6'9" applies to wingspan though. I mean, just if a less skilled big like an Ivica Zubac would have 100% turned that over. I have to say, I appreciate this play so much from Jamal Shed. Number one, getting in place. Number two, getting this call on the road. But also, Kyle Lowry's in the stands, man. No, he's not in the stands. He's on the bench. And Kyle Lowry is literally watching a guy in a Raptors uniform do 100% the same thing he did probably 100 times. People really don't understand how good a defender Kyle Lowry was. And I'm not saying Jamal Shed is that level of defender. He's got a ways to go, but I loved his defense tonight. Grady Dick. The same thing, right, with Grady. What can Grady do? What can Grady not do, right? Grady can probably be a catch and shoot demon. Does he do that? No. That's not really his role. His role is throwing his body recklessly into the paint because that's his weakness. So the Raptors are putting players into their weakest spots, putting lineups of 3 rookies, Immanuel Quickley and Scottie Barnes in the fourth quarter, and somehow still winning basketball games. This is a testament to their talent and their commitment and their development staff. And honestly, if you are one of those people who's been hating on Darko this entire time, I need you to really watch this game and really rethink your life choices. Because if you can't see how much these players are developing pretty much month over month, it's nuts. And this is just such a beautiful play. And believe me, they work on this all the time with Ochai and RJ and Grady. Like, this is a big, big part of what they're trying to do. They're trying to get these wings to be better finishers at the rim because it's important. Now, watch the Jets on this dude, man. This is crazy. Tyrese Maxey's fast, but he's a bit of a weak defender. So the strength, the quickness only almost always applies one way. But look at this. Okay, I slowed it down, but watch the burst here. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, he just beats him. And the beautiful pass to the corner, Jameson battle. Watch Jameson reading this play the entire time. So shot readiness, right? You pretty much hit the shot or miss the shot. 90% of it is done before you catch the shot or catch the pass. And here, little bit. he misses this, but I thought it was a great pass. Great pass. You get that to Brandon Ingram 9 times out of 10, open shot like that. He's either driving to the rim or he's making that shot. That was great. Just turning on the Jets, man. I said, oh my Shamshay. This is awesome, man. Look at this. Okay. There's no reason for him to be able to block this. I just want to be clear about that because he went up expecting a left-handed layup. Just think about this, okay? He went up expecting a left-handed layup. Mid-air, the defender tries to turn it into a right-handed layup, and it didn't matter. He still blocked it. That's insane. And then he loses it, and Jamal Shedd's off to the races. Off to Grady Dick. I'm gonna pause based on how I just said Dick. Okay, so let me call this in age. Okay, that is 19-year-old Ulrich Shamshi blocking a shot that he should not be able to block. That is 23-year-old Scottie Barnes trying to poke it away from the defender. That is a 23-year-old rookie Jamal Shedd passing it up to 21-year-old sophomore Grady Dick, who finishes at the rim. Come on now. Come on now. You're not excited about the future now? This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. I'm gonna say, like, this is pretty cool. Like, this is my renaissance as a Raptor fan right now. And this is awesome. Okay. This is freaking awesome. Look at this barrel roll. Joel Embiid's trying to go for this basketball. I'll show you the full play right after, but look at this. Just flips him. Ulrich has no fear. Mobo has no fear. Grady has no fear. Well, Grady might have some fear. I have no idea if Grady has no fear. Jonathan Mobo has no fear. Jacoby Walter has no fear. Ulrich has no fear. Jamal Shedd has no fear. You have got 4 absolutely fearless rookies. Fearless. Did I just post the same clip twice? Oh, I'm such a dummy. My bad. Okay. My bad, ex-followers. I meant to post a different angle of it. But, okay. This is some superstar ass shit, okay? Look at how the Sixers converge onto him. Right now, he's got a one-on-one matchup against Paul George, which is a pretty tough matchup. A lot of length, right? Quentin Grimes comes over to help. So now you got a second defender, and Quentin Grimes is a good defender. Paul George has historically been a very good defender, and he's just going to turn away from the help. Grimes is too small. And as Scottie told him when he was in New York Knicks, you is not him, still not him. Still makes this shot. The Raptors up by 2. This was impressive. At some moment, this was the comparison between these two players. They flashed the graphic on the screen, and holy crap, it has 311 likes. So I'm assuming that a lot of Maxey haters or Sixers haters are probably retweeting this, but nevertheless, no, I don't. Genuinely, I don't think that Immanuel Quickley is a better player than. Now, this was the play in reference, right, where he stops Joel Embiid. Look at this. Now here, Scottie has just stopped this drive, forced the pass. Joel Embiid is open. Orlando Robinson has turned around. Look at this defense. Again, straight up, not fouling. This is happening in milliseconds. Milliseconds. Okay. Rusty Nail with the smack that like button and give it a spin. I like it. I haven't tried that before. That's nice. Does the like button spin? I like it. Okay, cool. Okay. This is crazy. Just, okay. Number one, the hardest thing to do, in my opinion, is to stop a player when they get deep position underneath the basket. So that, I think partially is at least Joel Embiid screwing that up. But Scottie helped a lot. So it was like, I want to say Scottie and Joel Embiid tag teamed on that miss. But here's Scottie actually wanting the basketball, gathers the rebound, throws it over to Immanuel Quickley, ends up being a 3-point attempt. And here, once again, Scottie gets the rebound, and he's off. He processes the court so well. He sees that the Raptors are ahead of the Sixers right now. He hasn't even gotten full possession of the basketball, and he knows that if he runs this, they are going to be going all the way down. And here, he's right. Now, you could easily pass this to Grady. Tyrese Maxey is the only person back. So I want to be clear. Plays like this are never assured with the Raptors. I don't know if this is a age-old tradition that goes back to guys like Morris Peterson and Gary Trent Jr. Throughout history, I feel like the Raptors are just really bad at obvious plays. And this nice finish. Going into contact, not shying away. Scottie did miss a couple of gimmies at the rim tonight, but overall, really good result. This, you know what? Let's talk about this. I have been very critical of Jack Armstrong's clip on Scottie Barnes and Giannis Antetokounmpo, saying that it was absolutely out to lunch. I want you to listen to what Jack Armstrong had to say on this, and bear with me. I'll definitely enunciate. I'll say what he said. But, however, or yet.
What's said after that? It's the real truth.
What's said after that is the real truth.
I think he's more skilled than Giannis.
Wow.
More skilled. But Giannis is a psycho competitor. He'll rip your heart out.
Okay? People tell on themselves all the time. That's how Jack actually feels. I've been telling y'all for a long time. You want to pay attention to what people say? Pay attention to what they say after but. It was nice to hear Jack Armstrong acknowledge that as well. So now, from now on, when he talks about Scottie, subconsciously, I want you to really hone in on what he says after the but. He'll say, he's having a good game, but it's every time. Okay. How do you root against this team? You know, like Immanuel Quickley started the skip dance when he got to Toronto. Darko Rajakovic said he wanted him to play with joy. We remember that skip. Immanuel Quickley, it's been mimicked. I've seen it mimicked around Toronto basketball courts, you know, people doing the skip. It's kind of his thing now, right? And here, look at the bench. First of all, Jamal Shed. Look at the top of your screen. Jamal Shed immediately starts skipping. The whole team is skipping. That is the team that is really fucking with their starting point guard right now, man. That is a team that is really messing with this dude. And it's just nice to see. It's nice to see because you know what? When that dude who's currently coaching Philly was coaching this team, I would look over at the bench after a three, and it would look like I was watching a funeral wake. Like yes, it was disgusting. And this is the type of positive energy that you want to feel on a basketball court when you hit a big three. You want to look over at your bench and you want to see them celebrating your success, not having a conversation about something else. It's the most disrespectful shit on earth. Good coaches, good organizations do not have bad body language on their bench. And usually they weed it out pretty quickly. Plenty of coaches been on record about this. I think the Raptors have effectively changed their culture very quickly around Darko Rajakovic. Okay, great read, Scottie Barnes. I said, look at this. Navigating the pick and roll. This is the star shit. This is what people say he cannot do. Okay, this is 100% the reason why people said, no, you need to build the offense around RJ. You need to build their offense around Pascal. This is what they think he can't do. Well, he can do it, and he's done it a lot this year. It just doesn't come as consistently as you would like, but it's a work in progress. Look at this. Asking Orlando Robinson, set the screen. Okay, switch. Nope. Doesn't communicate. Gershon Yabusele, expecting a rotation that doesn't come. Scottie Barnes takes, and this is what I say. For players who don't know how to get separation off a standstill or off their own momentum, the Fred VanVleets and the Jalen Brunsons, and occasionally also the Lucas of the world, that just can't burst past their guy like an Anthony Edwards, they often require a screen assist. And so you have so many good screeners on this team. Brandon Ingram has wide shoulders. I'm sure at some point he can learn how to set screens for you as well. RJ Barrett can learn how to do this. Jakob Poeltl already does it very well. Jakob Poeltl might be one of the best screeners in the league. So this is an easy skill to replicate. Maybe not an easy skill to perfect, but it's a good skill to replicate. If Scottie Barnes does not generate the cleanest advantage off the dribble, And I mean, he had moments where he did. But in most situations, he's going to struggle to quickly just burst past his man. This is not Michael Jordan. This is not, but the screen is a friend. The screen is your friend. Use it, and learning how to navigate the pick and roll in this way is a game changer for Scottie. See, and again, Orlando Robinson's not a great screener. He's an okay screener. They just completely botched his communication, and he reads it really, really well. So again, that first step right there. Once he has this, we're good. Okay. Once he has that first half step, you're not stopping him. This is going to be a drive to the basket because, see, that right there, 280-pound Gershon Yabusele can't do anything about it because Scottie's just going to guard it. And if Kelly Oubre cheats too much, he's passing it. It's a simple thing. Simple basketball, man. Absolutely. And I say, nice drive. Speaking of Gershon Yabusele, here, the threat of the screen coming has Gershon Yabusele leaning left, thinking that screen is going to come from Shamshe. Instead, Scottie bursts left. Now, this is Embiid's rotation. He has to close and he has to stop. And once he's gone, someone else has to step in, Kelly Oubre, somebody. Instead, nothing happens and Scottie's getting to the line. This is the shit that makes you think if he can figure this out, it's unstoppable. And you thought it was just one thing, one time. No, he did this repeatedly tonight. Again, look at this. Immanuel Quickley gives him the ball. This is a screen that he is going to reject. Goes the other way. And once again, foot speed or foot race against Joel Embiid. Foul. Boom. Gets to the line again. Yo, James Harden mastered this. If Scottie can get into the lab with Brandon Ingram, and Brandon Ingram's very good at this too. RJ Barrett is better than Scottie at this as well. If he can get into the lab with Brian this summer and really figure out how to manipulate the pick and roll, the number of advantages he can generate as a giant playmaker in these situations is honestly some shit you've never seen before. It's going to be scary. Boom. Again, he's got him on a hip. He's got him on the hip. And now he can do this. I mean, do you understand the degree of difficulty it takes to navigate three defenders, one defender, two defender, there's a third one helping right behind you, and to just say, nah, I'm good. I'm just going to fade away. I swear y'all gassing Kawhi Leonard and saying he's the greatest player of all time because he did one move like this pretty much 100 times in the season. This is 100% Kawhi. If I had the skills of AI and I could just put Kawhi's face on this play, you'd be like, yeah, that's Kawhi. I didn't realize Kawhi played with Uber Shamshe. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize Kawhi was around, when Jonathan Mobo was on the bench. That's cool. I didn't realize Kawhi Leonard was playing with Immanuel Quickley. This is there are not a lot of players that can do this as cleanly as he does. They just aren't. It's not something you can replicate. Like Jason Tatum can barely do this right now. Okay. He can, of course he can. But from that position to be able to do this, going the other way, fading, and just to see it's not a fluke. He's been doing this all season. This is his game, right? That's what he does. You're like, what does Scottie do? That's what Scottie does. It's pretty much what Scottie Barnes does. Dun, dun, dun. Jacoby Walter hitting his one of his 2 threes tonight, or one of his only threes. No, his only 3 tonight. RJ Barrett in street clothes, really celebrating. Everybody very, very excited, except for the Philly fans who are just watching what the hell is going on with my team? Oh, you thought it was a fluke, did you? You thought it was a fluke. You're like, I bet you can't hit that again. One-on-one against Joel Embiid, who is a very, very good defender. I'm telling you that right now. Joel Embiid is a friggin' fantastic defender. A little bit compromised right now laterally, but that doesn't make a difference when that 7'5" wingspan is up and you're having to fade away off the dribble, dude, with a hand in your face. Swish. Oh my God. Yikes. I don't want to hear nothing about Paolo, Cade, nothing. I don't want to hear anything about Zach LaVine, Debo. Just shut up. Like, just shut up, man, and watch that play 12 times until you're dizzy. That was incredible. Joel Embiid, I think I'm on a generational run with some of these captions. I said Joel Embiid on his Ben Simmons arc right now. Give me a W if that was funny. I'm trying to be funnier. Joel Embiid passing up a jump shot from three. Oh boy. And the Sixers don't even realize they have to foul Tyrese Maxey. Jeez. Grady missed, split the pair at the line. And look at the Raptors looking like they won a damn championship. But it is a hard fought victory. So you can't clown it too much, right? There's Immanuel Quickley, really happy. Scottie with his dance, going up to RJ, giving him dabs. The future is very, very bright in Toronto, man. I really can't. I can't even hide my excitement. I mean, obviously, you want some bad news. It sucks for your tank. It sucks for your tank odds. You move within 2 to Brooklyn, a lead you will almost certainly give up. Philly moves a little bit closer to you before they tear it down. They are desperately trying to get this pick right now because it is top 6 protected. They're in the same position the Raptors were in last year. So they're trying to catch up to Brooklyn and Toronto. And the way I think this is going to go, I think Toronto's going to get passed by all 3 of these teams. I think Toronto's going to end up at 8th or 7th. You live with it. You live with it, and you pray for luck in the lottery. But if you don't get luck at the lottery, you do well with your 8th overall selection. I have a feeling it's going to, that's just the way it's going to work out. The Raptors are just way, way, way too committed to developing good habits right now to just outright go out and smoke games. Like, I don't even know what you want them to do. They're playing 4 rookies. Like, what the hell do you want? You want them to sign 10-day guys off the street? You want them to sign like a garbage man and a plumber to play a 10-day with them? Like, what the fuck do you want? Like, at this point, like the only option right now is to sign 10-day guys who are like terrible basketball players and like, I don't know, chain smoking. I don't know, maybe Darko can convince his team to like chain smoke at halftime or something, or abandon their diet or something, or start like, I don't know, like, I don't know what you can do to lose some of these games, man. I think you try everything and you can't. So you're just gonna have to live with the fact that you're not as bad a team as some of these other teams are at the back end of it, but maybe rejoice a little bit on that, because this was not for sure. This was not guaranteed, and you certainly walked into the season. Like, this is where I say, like, the marginal victories, right? People are always like, I'm just, again, as someone who grew up around a lot of people who were very, very instant gratification oriented, you see a lot of people who are like trying to go for like the big score, like the big win. I want the big win. I want to play the lottery, and I want to get like the $20 million payout, the $10 million payout. But you give them like that, you give them like that. I have some advice that can help you boost your net worth by like 15% next year. They don't want that. No, they're not interested in that. 15%. What, I got to do math now? I don't want that. You tell them, hey, you fix this one thing and your life is going to improve by 2%. They're like, 2%? My life is shit. What the hell do I want 2% of my life fixed for? I got a million problems. 2%? No. I need the lottery. I need the lottery. I need the big fix, man. I need the big fix. I lack vision to fix my life too. But the most sustainable way to grow? Fix one habit at a time. That's how you grow. Terrible teams look at a Bub Carrington. They look at a they look at Denny Avdia. They look at, guys like Rui Hachimura. I'm talking about the Wizards. Of course, I'm talking about the Wizards. And they think to themselves, we don't have enough. We don't have enough here. What we need is Cooper Flag. That's what we need. So we need to bottom out. We need to trade away the good players, keep the bad players, make the bad players somehow worse so that we can get Cooper Flag. But then Cooper Flag comes there. He has no one to play with. And 4 years later, he leaves. After losing a lot, he leaves. It's not how good organizations build anything. It's not ever how good organizations build anything. Today I was having a meeting with somebody about a panel at Pendance, and she's an entrepreneur from Ukraine who started a really cool tech initiative in Toronto. And listening to her talk about how she built this thing up stage by stage, festival by festival, It's really incredible to see how she had such vision at such a young age to do this. I think she's in her early 20s. It's important to realize that what the Raptors are doing is establishing a base level. This is how you celebrate your teammates. This is how you show up to practice. This is what an off season looks like. This is how you take care of your weight. This is how you hold yourself accountable. This is how you break down film. This is how you break down the film study. This is how you release the shot. This is how you finish at the rim. It is just piece by piece. It's really 1% at a time. This entire team's mantra under Darko Rajakovic is 1% better. They're doing the same thing. But you know, if you're a Raptor fan, you're like, this will never work. You must be silly. You must be silly. You've watched it work. Dwayne Casey, Pound the Rock. It's the same shit, man. It was the same shit. Better every day. Same habits. Establish accountability, establish culture, establish winning, establish defense. It's the same goddamn thing. It's the same thing. And this time, you're doing it with so much more talent. Inherently, you have so much more talent. It is unfair the level of talent that the Raptors could potentially acquire if they have the first or second overall pick this year. It is literally unfair. Like, they could boost themselves up to like a 52 win team next year, and I don't think anyone should be surprised if they are. I feel for Raptor fans, of course. We're already, the only team outside of America. There's a lot going on between America and Canada. And of course, there are Reddit forums and Real GM forums and online YouTube comments, and of course, the panel where all these fan bases come together and talk about their teams. And maybe as a Raptor fan, you haven't really had that pride. You can't really talk about your all-star because your all-star didn't make the all-star team. You can't really talk about the winning because your winning team ain't winning very much. You can't really talk about the rookies because it's like your rookies are good, but none of them are in the rookie of the year conversation. So you can't even sell yourself on the fact that we have a Khalil Ware who's about to win rookie of the year. There's almost like nothing to get excited about in Toronto. But the crazy thing is there's everything to get excited about in Toronto. This is such an impressive thing that this team has pulled together this year. To be this young, to be this inexperienced. And of course, you don't know where these players are going to end up. You don't know what all of this work is going to be. You don't know if Jacoby Walter ends up being closer to Devin Booker or CJ Miles. You really don't know that. What I can tell you is you found a 19-year-old who's an NBA player for sure. You found a 23-year-old in Jamal Shed who's an NBA player for sure. All of these players are NBA players. All of these players are going to be players in this league. They're all players in this league. Brandon Ingram, flawed, yes. Scottie Barnes, flawed, yes. RJ Barrett, flawed as hell, yes. Immanuel Quickley, flawed as hell, yes. But man, okay, you didn't put together a super team with LeBron, D. Wade, and Chris Bosh, but you got 4 pieces here that are like all capable of doing 25 and 5. Do y'all realize that? Y'all realize some of those games that Immanuel Quickley played last year where he was putting up those 10, 11 rebounds, those 10, 11 assists, those 22, 23 points? You got 4 players who can do 25 and 5. And you know what? You actually might have more because I think Jacoby is actually at his apex a 25 and 5 type of player. You just padding up this archetype of player who can go 25 and 5 and you're building them up. But some other 25 and 5 players, Mikal Bridges, Darko development, Devin Booker, Darko development, Desmond Bane, Darko development. So a 25 and 5 player who plays defense is like a max wing. I mean, 20 points ain't what it used to be. In fairness, you got to do some other stuff too. You got to be pretty efficient. You got to finish pretty well. You got to guard really well to be a max player. But when have you ever seen OG Anunoby average 5 assists? And when will you see it? I don't think so. I mean, I love OG. I don't think he has the ball skills to do that. If OG had developed under Darko the entire time, I guarantee you he is like a 22, 6, and 6 player right now with great defense, which, you know what, is like a freaking top 15 player in the league when you think about how great that dude is defensively. Developing basketball players this way works. It works. It really works. Developing players' skills repeatedly, like just making Grady better at things that he's already better at, that'll get you like a lot of press. That's going to get you a lot of press. It's going to get you a lot of, people that are excited with the development of the shooting. It's like, But yeah, but Grady is practicing everything. He's not just sitting there practicing corner catch and shoots, you know? Because like we're not trying to turn Grady Dick into Klay Thompson here. We're trying to turn him into a fundamentally complete basketball player. You're trying to turn him into another 25 and 5 guy. And Grady is a 25 and 5 guy. At his absolute best, Grady, Jacoby, Mobo. I mean, Mobo is really far away from the 20 points. I'm saying one day, don't be surprised if all these players are scattered around the league and you see one of those graphics pop up. Players to average 22, 6, and 6 this year. Jacoby Walter for the Houston Rockets. Grady Dick for the Indiana Pacers. Brandon Ingram for the New York Knicks. Scottie Barnes for this. Like, this is just how this guy develops players. You know what I mean? That's just how he develops players. He develops players to be complete. Now, it's also great to know that those players are also incredibly portable. You know what Desmond Bane, Mikal Bridges, and Devin Booker have in common? They're insanely portable. Name me one team that couldn't use that one of those guys in their starting lineup, or at least off the bench as their first guy. Name one. I'll wait. They're complete basketball players. Mikal Bridges probably was a little bit better 2 years ago, but like that's the insanity of it. It's the portability. They don't need to be compensated for anywhere. And so they are actually very valuable trade assets because they fit in everywhere. That's actually what made OG so impressively valuable and more valuable than someone like Pascal in a trade market because he fits in to every situation. That's why he's such a great trade asset because there's like there's always like 28 suitors for OG Anunoby. Always. There's 28 teams. There's a team that has him, and then there's a team that is absolutely stupid. Like those are this is just the situation with OG. And you know, you take a look at players like Jason Tatum, you look at players like Jaylen Brown, you take a look at players like Jamal Murray, and you ask yourself, 25 and 5. That's VertX saying, Knicks fan here. I had no idea Scottie was this good. I knew he was a monster on D, but I don't know he had this much of an offensive threat. Surprised he's not averaging 26. You trade SB Brunson? Are you asking me if I would trade Scottie Barnes for Jalen Brunson? First of all, welcome. This is not a hostile space. I'm also a New Yorker living in Toronto. So grew up in New York, Washington Heights. So salute to you and salute to the Knicks. I hope the Knicks won tonight. But would I trade Scottie Barnes for Jalen Brunson? I don't think you want the answer to that, man. I'm sorry. I would not trade Scottie Barnes for Jalen Brunson. But you know what? Don't feel bad. I wouldn't trade Scottie Barnes for Luka Doncic. So I'm the wrong person to ask about that. What has Booker ever won? James. He was the best player on an NBA Finals team like 5 years ago. Were you sleeping? I'd rather have Ingram over Embiid. Wow. You can develop players and become good, but you can't contend without elite players. That is true-ish. I mean, who do you think was elite on the Detroit Pistons in 2004? Because they contended for like 5 years. Who do you think was elite? Like, I mean, I'll agree with you that there were players who were elite at things. Like Rip Hamilton is an elite movement shooter, and Rasheed Wallace is an elite post scorer, and post defender. I could say for sure that Ben Wallace was an elite rim protector, but none of those players have ever been talked about in top 10 conversations. Maybe Rasheed in his Portland days was talked about fringy as the third or fourth best power forward in the league, but I don't think any of those players ever touched the levels of Kobe and T-Mac. So, and I mean, in fairness, T-Mac was elite and he never made it out of the first round in his prime. So what do you have to say about that? You know, it takes a lot. Oh, Lord. We doing 51st state shit here? Kevin Lazaro saying, facts, Rob, the front office getting our rooks with mainly second rounders are amazing work. Colin link is in the description. I'm gonna drop the link once here. I do have a lot of work for Pendants, but I'm totally down to have a couple conversations. If y'all want to talk about this, you want to talk about the draft, you want to talk about Brandon Ingram's contract extension, I dropped the link in the chat for the call-in. Let me know if it's not working. But yeah, I think it's working perfectly fine. Let's see here. Okay, we got a couple of super chats. Noble Venom. Does it concern you that Scottie only gets paint touches against teams with poor rim protection? Is that true? Is that factually true? No, I don't think that's factually true at all. No, there were a couple games ago, they faced off against a team. Hang on one sec. I gotta think about this here. So peep this. Hold on. So there was a game against what team was it? Not Memphis. They had pretty good rim protection. Not Oklahoma City. They had pretty good rim protection. Houston did not have really any rim protection at all. And he was perfectly fine to settle for a lot of jumpers. Chicago did not have a great deal of rim protection unless you're counting Nikola Vucevic, and he settled for a lot of jumpers. Washington. I mean, do you realize that he went like this is Noble Venom, respectfully, like you're a longtime channel member. I'm not trying to come at you, but some of his biggest driving games have come against some of the best rim protectors in the league. And I got news for you: Joel Embiid is one of the best rim protectors in the league. Gershon Yabusele, no slouch either. So I don't even think this is true at all. I don't think so. And it's not really the rim protection that's the matter. It's the perimeter defense that he can't shred right now. So overall, I just disagree. And if you want any evidence of this, what were the biggest fourth quarters that Scottie's ever put up? Like in his second year, what were those big fourth quarters? Milwaukee. Giannis and Brook Lopez took him to the woodshed. Brooklyn, Nick Claxton, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant. That's not easy. Those are long dudes. I'm not saying I'm not saying he's going up against Rudy Gobert and he's yamming it on Rudy Gobert. I'm just saying those are not bad rim protection defense. Those are not bad rim protection teams necessarily. Okay, second super chat. Justin Stewart. Nets versus Philly tomorrow and Raps versus Cavs. We good. I don't think the Cavs are playing their starters, so we not good. We might, I mean, we played very hard tonight, so we might have a letdown game, but it's also worth noting that we might not, and we might continue, and we might, I mean, what's the Raptors schedule going forward here? Hang on a second. It's like at this point, I've looked at the schedule so often that it almost feels like crazy that I don't know it off by heart. Like, they're facing Atlanta that day. No. Okay, so it is Cleveland. That is, if they don't play their starters, I feel like the Raptors can win that game, even on a back-to-back. And then it's the All-Star break, which is great for me because I then have like 6 days, 7 days, 8 days to work on pendants. But yeah, I mean, a lot of work needs to be done tonight anyway. But yes, tomorrow is the last post-game live until Miami on the 21st, which is nuts when I think about it. But yes, All-Star weekend. The Raptors have one representative, and that'll be Grady Dick at the Rising Stars game. But yeah, I mean, going into the All-Star break, there's usually like a bit of a hangover. Certain teams, they kind of relax. They let their foot off the gas a little bit. So yeah. But I mean, if you look at the schedule from there on out, like it can get like loss, win, potentially, loss, definite win, possible win, definite win. Like there's a 6-game winning streak coming up here, and that scares the living shit out of me. And again, March 16th through April 13th, like shut down everybody. I don't even know who you play. That's the problem. Like I think you play Garrett Temple with Ulrich Shamshay, run pick and roll, and probably beat the Washington Wizards. I really don't know how to lose these games. I have no idea how to lose these games. Honestly, this is going to be a quest for Darko. Like, are we going to see Ulrich Shamshay point guard minutes? I think we should. I think you should experiment with it. I think go nuts. Okay, Washington Wizards, meet your starting point guard that you're facing, Ulrich Chomsky, and your starting center is going to be Jamison Battle, where Jamison Battle is going to try to guard, the post a lot during that game, work on his turnaround hook shot, dream shake. Ulrich is going to knock down like 16, take 16 threes a night. We're going to call it development. Darko is going to come out after the game and be like, hey, chalk it up to development. Great. That's what it is. Okay. I think tonight would be a great night to see if Scottie Barnes had a post game. I don't know if he did. Let's just see if he did. Did he? Yes, they did. Okay. So Scottie and IQ post game. Let's check it out. And I can stop talking. That would be great too. Lewis saying, I have a feeling that BI might play in this season. He probably will at some point. I think they'll give him like 5 games.
Minutes went to the rookies, and you get a win against.
Hold on. Bro, what are you doing? Why are you trolling?
Working for Kayla.
RJ Barrett plays basketball tomorrow.
Yeah, I do play basketball. You do. You're absolutely right.
Maybe we'll see.
Oh shit!
All right. It's already been reported. Anyway, so you go out there, you got 6 rookies playing major minutes, and you come out with a win against teams. A lot of big names on it. What do you make it to?
Credit to the young guys. Only way you learn is by experience, by being out there. I kind of remember being that guy once, rookie year. And the only way you can really learn is by playing, being out there.
I just appreciate the fact that Immanuel Quickley is so I don't give a fuck about this, that he's going to have his food. He's going to have his post-game meal while talking to them. So he's chewing while talking to them. I don't think I've seen that. And also, can I remind you that there was a point guard in the Raptors history that would often take like little jabs at the younger guys and act like he was carrying them and kind of be all demeaning. And to see a guy who's not a lot older than those younger guys kind of giving that credit back, that's really nice. That's really nice. I appreciate that.
And they're getting better. How
are you feeling physically? You look all closer to like yourself tonight based on the performance.
Always myself. Try to go out there, play hard, be aggressive, and some games you play good, some games you don't. But I'm starting to get back in the rhythm, offensively, defensively. Teammates put me in a great position. So.
You watched a lot of games early this season where they a lot of close games that ended up on the wrong side of the score. How nice was it, obviously, to get the win, but also to be on the floor and help them in those situations that you usually watch?
Oh, my fault. This chicken is kind of dry. My bad. It's good, man. It's tough coming out on the, you put so much effort in the day in and day out basis.
I just want to say this is already turning into like one of the most memeable, gifable post-game interviews possibly in Raptors history. My bad. The chicken's a little bit dry as he swishes his mouth. Man,
it's so long, and then sometimes you come up short. It's tough. So to come out on top is everything we work for, and can't be satisfied. You got to continue to keep working. Take the losses, learn from the losses, learn from the wins, and keep moving.
How important is it to get these minutes together with you, with Scottie, hopefully eventually with RJ, and build some of that chemistry and continuity?
Just give RJ the ball, let him get to his left hand, get out the way. It's pretty much the game plan.
That's not the plan.
But we need that chemistry. We need games together. So we can, eventually be where we want to be and continue to win games. So it all comes down to winning. But this was a good step for us.
Obviously, Tyrese Maxey really well. You know how tough it is to stop him. What was working for you guys defensively tonight?
Coach did a really good job. Just making it hard. Great players. Great players are great players, and sometimes you don't shut them off. Sometimes you just got to make it hard. They have a lot of good guys on that team. Tyrese, Paul George, Embiid, they're really tough on the offensive end and guarding them. So just try to make it tough.
how good does it feel to get a win and look at how many minutes your rookies played and the kind of spirit they played with?
You know,
Pretty exciting.
yeah, for sure. Come out here and get a W. I think we lost about three or four in a row. So to be able to come out here and get a win, you know, feels great. You know, these guys played great. We was all helping each other, and you know, they was talking, communicating, being active. Coming from the G League, staying ready. That's a big thing to do. To be able to come out here, guard what he was MVP 1 or 2 years ago. So that's a big task to be able to handle. Jonathan coming up, stepping up, guard him from the beginning of the game. You know, it's a big task as well. So you know, they was mentally prepared to do it, and they're ready for it. That shows a lot from them.
I mean, you've made a point of trying to attack the rim, and you haven't always got the calls that maybe you deserve. That's the line, I think, is pretty high tonight. Was that a focus almost from the jump to get to the rim?
You know, it's being able to talk to the coaches, watching film myself. Just wanted to be aggressive going downhill, showing us some burst. Be able to just try to get past the defender. I think yesterday, just going on Instagram, and I was like watching something from Matt Barnes, and he was talking about something. So talking about how I can't go to the rim, trying to get past people. So I think that kind of motivated me a little bit as well. So you know, I was trying to get to the rim, be able to use my burst and speed, get into the rim, getting fouls, getting free layups. You know, felt great today.
I appreciate that.
Had it going from minute 1.
I appreciate that. Dude. Okay. Yeah, we here. Oh my God. That's hilarious. That better go viral as hell. I think, you know, Matt Bonner gonna have to respond to that now. And, you know, I think that's the perfect response to critique, right? And, you know, let me just say one thing. I have been very, very cagey about Scottie criticism because I think a lot of it is below the belt, and I think a lot of it is unfair, and I think a lot of it is stupid. What Matt Bonner said yesterday was not stupid. It was not out of pocket. It was not disrespectful. It was exactly how I think I agreed with a lot of it. He was right, you know, and I think Scottie heard it, and it was good. Again, there's a really big difference usually in how players who play the game talk about the game, specifically talk about players, and people who have never touched the basketball talk about players. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You know, et cetera. You're not really giving any tangible constructive criticism on anything. It's like this entire basketball channel that we do here is built on this idea that I always wanted to know that if a player listened to my critique of their game, that they could actually get something from it. That was always the goal in my mind. Because I know players check this shit out. Like I know, I've seen it. I've, you know, seen our Instagram stories and I've heard it. I've spoken to players about it. Like, yes, I know you're hearing me. So when we're talking about shot selection, there needs to be a constructive element to critique. It can't just be straight up slandering, hating, like L, you know, he's a left-hand merchant. Like, it's like, no, like, what do you want him to do in that situation? You know what I mean? So I think that what Matt Bonner said was fair. I love how Scottie responded to it. It's good, man. It's all good.
From him in terms of his attacking and balancing again.
I thought that he set the tone for our whole team defensively to start of the game. I thought that our actually whole team, that the first quarter was outstanding defensively. Ocha did an amazing job guarding Maxi. Scottie was great on Paul George. Mobile was good, really good guarding Embiid. And I think that set the tone for us because of great defensive effort. We were able to get stops, get rebounds, and allow us to run and find some rhythm early in the game. I thought that Scottie during the whole game was really, really aggressive, playing with a lot of force, going downhill, being able to finish at the rim, and at the same time get to the free throw line quite a bit, while at the same time he was playmaking and finding guys when it was necessary.
I mean, specifically, you know, your center rotation was Mobile, Kendall Robinson, and Ulrich. And more or less, you survived. You did well. What does it say about those three guys?
It talks about the spirit and character of our team, to be honest.
I mean, I think it says, if I'm being completely honest, I know he can't say this, and I'm not trying to translate for him, because certainly he can speak for himself. But I think it also says a lot about the Sixers, if I'm being completely frank. 9 times out of 10 in a normal setting, if an average coach coaches against you with that roster, and you have this roster, you're getting blown up by 40. So, I mean,
honest with you, I think you saw Aldridge playing there against, his fellow Cameroonian, and he did a really good job. He had a block shot. He was not shying away from contact and physicality from the moment, and our whole bench was cheering for him. They were really happy for him to have an opportunity to go out there and compete. So that speaks a volume about the character of this team.
You got a really good effort from Immanuel Quickley as well. What did you see from him on the offensive end that worked tonight?
I saw great defensive effort to start with. I think that he was really engaged, that he was communicating really well, knowing directions, calling out what was coming, being prepared to play high-level game. And then on offensive end, he gave us extra spark, ability to score off the bounce, his playmaking, finding his teammates open. I thought that he played a great game.
Just your group. I mean, I think you had like 95 minutes to your rookies today. All 5 number 6 of them. Like, what does it say that you can give that many minutes to that group and win a basketball game?
It says a lot of things. First of all, about our front office being able in draft to find all of those guys. They're high character people, hardworking kids, really improving from game to game. Then
that is such an underrated comment. That is such an underrated comment. It is the front office. It is the scouts. Like, pay this forward, man. It's so easy to ignore that part of it. Yes, it's a chain. Everybody has to communicate. Everybody has to work. It's like a bloodstream, Like, do you know what happens when there's a clot? You die. Okay? Typically, blood clot, you die. Okay? Which means when the chain breaks, the whole organism falls apart. This is very important. When the scouting department doesn't do their job, then the general manager can't do his job. The players can't do their job. Like, the whole thing has to be operated in such a methodical and scientific way. And then, of course, you can draft and find and, put all the people in the right place. But when your coach doesn't do his job, the coach doesn't do the right job, your leaders don't do their job, well, then the whole thing falls apart. And we're left to wonder, oh, is Masai cooked? Yeah, right. No, man.
Speaks a volume about our assistant coaches who are working every single day with them, putting and pouring into them everything. And you see their development as the season is progressing. Those guys are progressing. So kudos to front office and assistant coaches and players.
Is Aldridge somebody you want to get, like, sort of bring in and out of the rotation just to get a few peaks at for the rest of the year?
I think he's going to be in and out. I think he has very good rhythm with 905, but I think there is also going to be great opportunities to be on the court with us and play more consistent minutes with us as well.
Darko, before the game, we talked about Scottie's three-point shooting, but working on his ability to drive to the rim as well. What did you see from that? And also, is there more that you want to develop out of him in terms of the aggression going to the basket?
I think that this was a great example what Scottie is capable to do when he plays with a lot of force and going to the rim. And he was really good of finding an angle, playing with force, that first step, going around defense, and then playmaking from there. When they were putting like 2 people on him, he was able to make extra passes. When he got an angle to finish at the rim, he did a great job. I think he needs to continue with this type of force and play with this type of force more.
And there's that play towards the end of the game where I think he called up Ochai to come with the screen, and 2 guys went to Scottie, and he immediately found Ochai, and he slipped to the basket for the layup. What does that say about his ability to read and bend the defense when he starts to drive and command that much attention that he gets doubled like that?
We all know how good of a passer he is and how willing of a passer he is. He's just trying to read the game and to play the right way. And when those opportunities are there to trust his teammates, he's doing it.
Seems to read a lot more.
Okay. So the vibes are immaculate. The vibes are immaculate in Toronto. And we have no callers because y'all want to call after a loss, but you don't want to call after a win. Or maybe you're trying to be like, you know what, Rob? I know you got to go work on the Pendance Film Festival. We've been doing live streams like a motherfucker ever since the Raptors traded for Brandon Ingram and all of the hoopla that has been that. I don't know when I'm on the panel next. I'm pretty sure it's Thursday, but I might be on tomorrow. I'm not sure. So, this is my time. I got to take this time. The Raptors currently are favored to lose royally to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I don't think if the Cavaliers are resting their starters, I don't know. You said you had some talk about Ingram, Rob. No, I said that I talked about Ingram in the last live, and so I don't really have too much more to add about that. Talk about Tank. I'd call in if you had time to spare. I got 5 minutes. You want to call in? You can call in. We can have a 5-minute conversation. We cannot have a 2-hour conversation. We can have a 5-minute conversation. If you want to call in, call in. Certainly, you don't have to put yourself on camera. You just click the link and you call. Call-ins are cool. It's nice to hear the other side of it. You know, it's good for me to also understand the audience. You know, someone was asking the other day, it's like, how do you understand the Pensare basketball audience so well? And I'm like, I talk to them every day. I have like 180 text chains with, you know, so many of you. I read your comments. I often respond to your comments. We have call-ins. Like, how better do you understand your audience than to literally talk to them? Mike P with the yeah. Mm-hmm. Go do your pen dance work, bro. Okay, I appreciate you. I appreciate the support from this community for sure. Yes, there's a lot of work to be done. Yeah. Basketball is a great way to procrastinate from that, though, for sure. Yesterday I was watching like the Luka game, and I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, you know, I'm gonna spend 3 hours, but it's gonna be well worth it because, you know, this is history in the making. And then she was about to head to bed, and she's like, "You're doing a live about it?" I'm like, "It's not gonna be long. Don't worry. I just want to make sure that the audience understands the moment." And then boom, 3 hours later, still doing the live. So it's like Rob is like James Brown. I've never ever been compared to James Brown, so I appreciate you for that. Thank you very much. Scroopy Hoopers, to those who don't know, is Vince, the guy who calls in very often. But yes. Anyways, have you seen BI video of him watching MJ films all day? Yes. In fact, I posted it very recently. Yeah, it's awesome. And you know, I've said it before. I'll say it one more time to end off the BI talk. I think he hasn't been activated yet. I feel like you've seen what Darko and this culture can do to Ochai. I think you've seen what it can do to Immanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett when it's going right. I don't think you've seen what it can do to like a really super skilled player though. Like the higher end skilled players. Like I think about players like all the time. I'm like, which players do I feel like Darko could really unlock around the league? Brandon Ingram was definitely one of them. I'm trying to think about like players that I feel like are suboptimally used, but could be used better. Trey Murphy was another one. Ironically, his teammate. Trey Murphy is one. Who else? I feel like Wemby would have been better here with Darko. There are plenty of guys in this draft that are like that as well. So, anyways, it's nice because the Raptors have a whole bunch of young players they have to develop anyway. But it was really nice to see Ulrich out there. Really nice to see the rookies. Looking forward to tomorrow's game. Hopefully, the Raptors don't have a dud tomorrow. Apparently, RJ Barrett is back, and the Raptors are like, I think, 13-point underdogs on the road. I don't really understand that, but you know, if Cleveland is not playing their starters, I think Cleveland's going to lose. All right, Jacoby will be nice for sure. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with basketball, man. I can get real deep. I can talk about it for 4 hours. But I want to thank y'all. Also, by the way, I mentioned that we're going to be doing an interview with Charles Oakley. I got a message back that it's probably Oakley, but it might be somebody else. So it's one of the two. It was really cool. So I'm not, as y'all know, I don't have a media pass. I'm not like affiliated with the Raptors in the official capacity like a lot of people who do this, like Hello and Welcome and Raptors Republic, etc. Like those people have reached out for a media pass. I did not reach out for one. I didn't think I would get one, so I just didn't reach out for one. In hindsight, I probably should have reached out for one because a lady, I'm not going to name the name, reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're offering a few interviews for the Raptors 30th anniversary, and there's a couple of people that you can interview. This person. So one of the people was Charles Oakley, and I jumped at that. I was like, "Yeah, Charles Oakley, but I'll take them all." And I initially said, "I'll take them all," and I think this left the door open to, oh, like I'm cool with anything. Whereas like I should have said, "No, I want Charles Oakley." So now we're in a bit of a limbo where they decide who and how many interviews Charles can do. So hopefully he can do one. But if he can't, we'll still have you covered with somebody else. It may not be a player. It'll just be somebody who's very, very historically relevant to the Raptors history. So we'll see. All right. I'm going to talk to y'all later. I'm off to do Penn Dance stuff. An hour and 30-minute stream. Joel Embiid in the retirement home. Nice. Peace. Make sure to like the video. Oh, wait. Also, one last thing. Continuing to procrastinate. Thank you to the plus 600 people that were in here at once. That's actually pretty cool for a live stream. We don't usually get 600. We usually get 400, 350, 450. So it's pretty cool to see that people are still supporting this team. And I want to say thank you for supporting us as well, because today we crossed 12,200 subscribers. So that's nice. Thank you so much. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great one. Enjoy your night. Go Raptors.